Why? You guys are just arguing about who's the best teacher. Who's making spaghetti? Are you following along? I don't want to lose you guys.
I know that Freels makes spaghetti. Because
Michaela, are you making spaghetti? How are you doing? Nobody's going to follow you on TikTok. I am not TikToking anybody. I draw the line at Instagram. Hey, this is the exact reason. Oh my gosh. She's spilling spaghetti everywhere.
it's okay. I'll pick it up.
Alright. So, you can just dump the spaghetti in or crack it in half. So that's what I like to do, is crack it in half. I do it over the pot so the little things can go in there. Yep. Whoops. It's just flinging everywhere. Oh my gosh.
I'm really good at this.
Tia, you said you weren't cooking. I don't believe you about your noodles. It's steam, guys. I think if I turn on my blower, it's gonna be really, really loud. So I'm not too worried about it. It's just steam. Getting our nice facials in, opening up the pores. You never crack noodles?
That's just weird.
So you don't have to, but I usually do because it's easier to eat, and I'm all about the ease. Technically, it's the...
No.
Just leave it.
Did
Did you do half of a...
I don't know how much half is. I just
Okay,
kind of guessed.
so I'm going to do a little bit more spaghetti.
Oh.
Alrighty. I don't know.
How do noodles, like, they just do, and they smell really bad when they
Yeah, they do smell bad. After you throw all your noodles in there, make sure you give it a little bit of a stir with a long-handled fork, spoon, something, a noodle
I'm
spoon.
standing right by
That way they don't get too clumped up. Is it too hot?
Yeah.
You don't want them super clumped up because otherwise it's a mess and you can't really eat it. Your noodles fell everywhere. Well, when Ava just did it, hers did too. They were all over the counter.
I picked them up.
We did. The counters were all Cloroxed and everything too. Why don't you just use the whole box? So sometimes I use the entire box if we have a lot more meat, but
God.
I base it off of how much meat I'm using. So right now you're going to have to alternate between mixing the meat and making sure it's all cooking through, and also making sure the noodles don't boil over. So it's bubbling really good. I'm going to just turn the noodles down just a touch so they keep boiling, but we don't risk the pour over and then have to clean up everything.
I did that.
What do I do if my water's boiling everywhere? Trace, how full is your pot?
Probably should show how full it was.
You don't want to fill up, if you have too much water. Oh my gosh. Okay, you're going to turn the heat down, Trace, and if you have to, blow on it because you need to cool off the top of the noodles and then mix it. You need to break the surface tension of the water or something. I don't know, I'm just making things up.
What's the word for it? Is that for the noodles?
Is there a noodle ratio? Bye, Liv. Check back later. I know, I told you that I'm not super specific when I cook.
This is how much is left.
We did half a box of this size of noodles. So, half of a pound of noodles for about a pound of meat. Liv, you can leave now. I don't need this negativity on my live. This is why measurements would be greatly appreciated. I know, but how do you effectively measure noodles? That's my question. You can't. You want me to weigh noodles? Who has a scale?
My dad.
Well, your dad's not here. I will try to do better with my measurements moving forward, Trace, for you and I don't know, my husband. Oh, here's the other thing. So spaghetti noodles are supposed to take anywhere from 8 to 10 minutes, depending on what noodles you used. And to boil. So sometimes you can set a timer. I usually don't because I always forget, and then I'm halfway through and I have no idea. So the other thing supposedly you can do if your pot is boiling, Trace, this will be helpful for you. You can take a wooden spoon and set it over top. Apparently a wooden spoon helps it not boil over. My husband does it every time. I think it's a lie because it still gets really high. So I just, if I'm by myself, I'll just blow on it. And the bubbles go away. So it's magic. I keep knocking this towel off.
Now your germs are in it.
You're fine. There's a hole in this spoon that you can use. Oh, look at you.
What? What has
Smarty pants. You can put, so look. I've seen that. I've never actually tried it. So there's a hole in a lot of the spoons that you can put that many noodles through and measure it that way. But I had more noodles than that. So.
Yes.
All right. Who else is doing a meat sauce? How's your meat coming? Mine's pretty close to being done. There you go. Okay, so if you're using hamburger meat, you don't have to worry too much about how, like, checking the temperature on it because it's ground beef. And as long as it all looks like the color looks cooked, if there's still pink, it's not cooked enough. But then we're going to get a little tricky here.
Oh no.
Okay, timeout. What? Timeout what? What's up? I'm slowing down. Sorry. So all I did right now is turn my meat off because my meat is done. My noodles are not done yet.
They're still stirring.
Trace, is your meat browning yet? Who's got questions for me? Because I can help you out. Okay, carry on. There's not really time outs in cooking, but we'll do what we can. Ooh, chicken noodle. I don't know who that is, but hi. Okay, so I shut my meat off.
My noodles are still cooking.
The noodles are cooking. They're probably not done yet. So here's the other thing. When you cook ground beef, you get a lot of this excess oil. And I know that you're not supposed to pour oil down a drain, but it's really hard to drain off the oil from a meat if you don't. So I'm going to get a strainer out because I did not think ahead. And I will be, it's like over there so you won't be able to see me. So, yes, sweet. You just put the noodles in? Awesome. Uh-oh. We don't have a strainer.
What?
It's in a different box.
Oh no. This is not good. There's too many boxes.
All right.
You can use the plate and no, the plate's not big enough.
I'll use the lid. Yeah, Trace, as your meat cooks down, it releases fat. So there, like the liquid that's in the pan, we didn't add any water or anything to it. So all of this like liquid, do you see it? That's in there. We need to drain that off. Otherwise, we're just eating this random extra meat fat for no reason. I'm going to go ahead and spin you guys around again. I'm glad that I cleaned my whole kitchen. Yes, grease, whatever. Yeah, Chloe, go ahead. What's up with the assignment? Okay, so I'm going to put the lid on and try to pour it out slowly. Usually I just use a strainer and I can pour it all out, but my strainer is still packed. I know, the cat wants to come back inside, but then the dogs will freak out. Which is every day at my house. Okay, so as if you're dumping out any grease, which again you should not do, you've got to run hot water so it gets it all the way out of your drain lines. So I'm going to do that because I do not want any issues. Normally, like if you're making bacon, it's really easy to take the bacon out and then you can pour the grease into like a glass jar or something to collect it, and then once it solidifies again, you can just throw the bacon grease away unless you're using it in a pan later to fry eggs and stuff. But it's something about when you're cooking hamburger meat, it's just hard to collect that grease in a way that isn't going down the drain. So, sorry, Defiance sewer system, I'm breaking the rules. The current event, didn't finish it. Okay, so for the current event assignment, all you need to do is read an article about some kind of sporting event, write a summary of that article, and then turn in the article and the summary. You don't have to physically be there. You're just reading an article that somebody wrote about some kind of sport somewhere. So what I tell students to do all the time is just Google a sport that you like. Like let's say your favorite sport is volleyball. So Google volleyball and then click news, and it'll give you some articles. So we're going to actually check our noodles too.
They're very bubbly.
They are super bubbly. Sometimes you can tell by how flimsy they are on your spoon, or you just want a couple noodles.
And you touch. And you blow and then touch.
Yep. I just put one in my mouth is how I try it.
I did.
So it's not too hot, and then you're just going to taste it, and if it's soft, if it's how you like it, then you can dump out the noodles or dump out the water. Ava, you did not put hardly any noodles in here.
Sorry.
Oh my God. Our sauce to noodle ratio is going to be way off, guys.
You looked in the box, though.
No, my husband is not a canine. He wants to do that down the road eventually, but he's only been working for Toledo for like 3 or 4 years, so he doesn't have the seniority to get that right now, and there's no dogs available. So right now, our 2 German Shepherds are just pets. Alright, so you can shut off your noodles if they're done, but you do not want to let them sit in that water. That's when they get super soggy. So I've got, good thing I don't need my strainer again. So I've got the lid that's got the little holes on it and stuff. So as long as you line that up with the pot you're using, you can just drain the noodles. Do not throw noodles against the wall. Absolutely not. Jeez. I'm going to dump, yep, go ahead and spin it.
I rotating.
So I'm going to dump out the water for my noodles. We're going to end up, after this video is over, we're going to have to make some more noodles because we're going to have so much extra sauce.
Whoopsie daisy. Why do I feel like it's crooked?
Yeah.
Is
I
it?
don't know.
No.
Yeah, it's leaning. So, as your noodles are finishing up, I guess we didn't need to put the noodles in as soon as we did because our sauce is not ready. But that's okay because we're going to keep the noodles in a hot pan. Turn it around again. In the pot.
He said if the noodles stick to the wall, that means they're done.
I know, that's why I said not to. What? You are so crooked.
I'm sorry.
Thank you. Mine too. Mine too what?
Now they're gonna sit.
You're done. It depends on which dog and whether or not you have a tennis ball. Because if you're hiding a tennis ball from Radar, then he will definitely try and eat you. So I just opened up a stick of butter. Oh my gosh, why is that so like? There we go.
Oh,
I guess I can turn my light down too.
so fancy.
Ooh, I know, it's super fancy. Oh, that's not what I want. Okay, so I'm going to take off about 2 tablespoons of butter. For the amount of noodles we've got, I'm going to do 1 tablespoon of butter. Here's some measurements.